Hey everybody, we are here for a live stream all about PitchWars, and I'm here with two of my lovely friends. I'm going to have them introduce themselves in a minute, but yeah, just in case you are just popping in and don't know what we're going to be talking about, we have submitted to a mentorship program called PitchWars. We're going to explain all about it in a second, but we're going to talk about our experience. We're going to answer some of your questions. If any of you have submitted, we want to hear your experience as well. But first of all, let me introduce my friends. Holly, would you like to go first?
Sure. My name is Holly Davis. I am known as Write Holly Davis on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. So go ahead, check me out there. I'm a writer and I'm trying to be traditionally published.
Woo-hoo.
My name is Katie. Most of my stuff is Katie Wilson, author, and I'm also trying to be traditionally published. I write contemporary YA for right now and mixing with a bunch of stuff.
Woo! So exciting. Yeah, Katie and Holly and I and a bunch of other people actually that are in the chat right now, we've all been in the process of submitting to PitchWars. And if you don't know what PitchWars is, I'm actually going to screen share right now and show you the PitchWars website, which is if you didn't know. A lot of people are like, what the heck is PitchWars? And all you have to do is go to pitchwars.org, and I'm just pulling it up right here. I'm going to read what they say about it. And here we go. If you guys can see this. Here we are. Okay, so what is PitchWars? And again, you can just go to pitchwars.org and hover over here and click here. What is PitchWars? PitchWars is a mentoring program where published or agented authors, editors, or industry interns choose one writer each to mentor. Mentors read the entire manuscript and offer suggestions on how to make the manuscript shine for the showcase. The mentor also helps edit their mentee's pitch for the contest and their query for submitting to agents. Mentors can participate solo or pair up and co-mentor. So yeah, I just want to read it directly just so I get it totally right on the money here from the source. And yeah, it is a whole spiel where you prepare your manuscript, you submit. It takes about a month or so for mentors to actually pick who they want to work with. They're going to work with you for about 3 months, and then there is an agent showcase where they present all the finished manuscripts, and agents get to request more pages and then maybe even offer representation, which is what we're all hoping for. So if you are looking to be traditionally published, this is a great opportunity for you to happen once a year, and we're going to talk all about it. I just want to say hi to a few people that are here live. Hi, Brittany, and JJ, and Martin, and Heather, and Tracy, and EJ, and Christine, and all of you. We're so excited you're here. As we talk, we have some questions that we've preset and we're going to answer. And if you have submitted, we want to hear your questions or your answers in the chat as well. And if you have any questions about PitchWars, definitely also be in the chat and ask us your questions. And we will do our best to answer it accurately, but we're always going to say go to pitchwars.org, go to PitchWars Twitter account. Even Sarah Nicholas, who is on the PitchWars team, she has a YouTube channel and she's been posting a bunch of really helpful YouTube videos on the topics as well. So check out all of those. I'm going to stop talking and we're going to get right into it. Oh, actually, the one thing I did not clarify, and I don't know if either of you would like to help me out with this, but we wanted to share the distinction between PitchWars and PitMad. Would either of you like to just summarize what PitMad is, how it's different?
Yeah, so we already know what PitchWars is, but PitMad is different because it's like a Twitter pitch contest. And so PitMad, you can post it's three, right? Mm-hmm. I also participated in some other Twitter pitch contests, but yeah, so you can post 3 pitches throughout like an 8-hour window for each manuscript. So you can pitch more than one manuscript, but it has to fit within the character count for a tweet, and you're pitching the manuscript, and then if an agent or whoever editor sometimes too will like that tweet, then they're essentially saying that they want you to query them, like they want to read more. And so then you can send them your materials. And some people, like, they only will like people's pitches, or like you have to submit to them through contests. So that's like a really cool way to get some like new people. But so it's a little bit different. It's just a one-day event. I don't know if I was too wordy, but.
Totally. Yeah. Katie, is there anything else you want to add to that? Because I know both of you have done PitMad, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I actually have a blog post about it on my website, but it really helps to get the writing community involved, because the more retweets you get, the more you'll have a better chance of being higher in all the tweets for the agents to see you. So that's really helpful.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. So if you are a person that like, hey, my manuscript is like, I think it's in a really good place. Like, I just want to get connected to agents. I don't really think I need a whole lot of like, edits. Like, I've done betas and critiques and everybody's telling me it's like in really good shape. You should do PitMad. But if you're like, hey, like I've been querying and I'm not getting any responses, or I'm getting rejections, or something's wrong with my story and I don't know how to fix it, or you've done a lot of revision, but you know that there's things you want to fix and you want help doing that, then getting a mentor through PitchWars is a great opportunity to really get some advice and some personal help from somebody who's already in the industry and already knows a whole lot to walk you through the process. And so I know that Holly and Katie have done some querying and PitMadding and all this stuff, and we're going to get into why they're in a place that they want to enter PitchWars again. I'm going to explain too. I haven't gotten to the place where I'm querying, but we are going to go through that. So let's just start off first with some fun things. And again, if you have submitted this time around, we want to hear your answers as well. But we would love for you guys to share what kind of book you entered PitchWars with, maybe the genre category, a little bit about it, or at least some aspects of it. And Holly, I'm going to put you on the spot again.
That's fine. It's cool. I get it over with. No, I'm just kidding. So the manuscript that I submitted to PitchWars is called The Celestial Code. It's a YA urban fantasy with science fiction elements, or light sci-fi, soft sci-fi, however you want to call it. But it's like my book baby. It's the book of my heart. It has serious potential, so that's why I love it so much, because I have so many other ideas for the story. But there's I have some POC and LGBTQ characters, so I have some good representation there. There's also mental health representation, because my main character deals with a verbally abusive stepdad. So there's a lot of like emotional parts to the story. But then there's also a lot of action. There's her ex-boyfriend, who is the love interest and who she's trying to still date. And then there's just like a whole bunch of magic and like intense world building that I really had a fun time doing, that I think is really unique about the Celestial Code. And then, and the two stories that I kind of use as comp titles are A Wrinkle in Time and The Lunar Chronicles. So that's kind of what the Celestial Code is all about.
Love it. Katie?
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Oh,
Mine
thank
that I
you.
entered is a YA contemporary rom-com. I really wanted to try to up the comedy in my book and have a really romantic main character. I guess like she's a romantic at heart, trying to find her Prince Charming, and she's going through all these bad meet cutes and terrible dating app fails and like all this awful stuff. And then she gets kind of makes her guy friend get into a fake relationship with her, essentially to show her like real meet cutes and fake dating and like all this stuff. And then she finds Prince Charming in the dating app, and like it goes through all that stuff. So my comps for that would be the fake dating of To All the Boys I Loved Before, and the summer before college feel of When Dimple Met Rishi. So
I love that. I also want to read.
Seriously, I love hearing about your guys' stories. It's so much fun. I can't wait till they're all published, and then we can read.
Yeah.
And I'll go last. So my book is tentatively called On Wings of Ash and Dust. It's a YA fantasy. This is my channel, so a lot of you people probably already know a lot about it, but just really quick, there is a competition for the Fairy Crown between the heirs of 5 different clans, and my main character is an anti-hero pirate pixie, and there's just a lot of fun, and there's a lot of mystery, a lot of stuff that they find out. that is going on under the surface. And it is really fun. Actually, Holly was one of my beta readers, so she knows all that. But yeah, so it's really fun. And since we're sharing comps, Carnival Row just came out as a TV show, and I haven't watched a ton of it, but like my fairies feel as like if I have to compare them to a certain fairy book or show or whatever, they're probably most closest to Carnival Row. And then I also use Six of Crows for the misfit group kind of dynamic, and To Kill a Kingdom with like sort of taking a familiar myth and twisting it around. So lots of really fun stuff. I'm just gonna look in the comments too to see if there's anybody else sharing. I love that StreamYard lets us do this, because I submitted a YA contemporary fantasy titled Rhythm of the Stars to PitchWars. It has witches, magic, slow burn romance, and mystery. Woo-hoo!
So good.
And then Heather says the Celestial Code is amazing, and that is Holly's twin sister. Love it. And then Heather says I submitted Crossing the Rubicon, a YA magical realism novel. So fun. I'm just seeing if we have any others. Cool. Okay. Yeah. So we have just shared a little bit about what we have submitted. I'm trying to look at so I can get rid of that. Okay, cool. But the next thing we want to talk about is why did we want to enter? And if you have entered again, let us know your answers. But also, if you have thought about entering or you want to in the future, what is your motivation? What would you like to get out of it? And I'll switch it around. And Katie, would you like to share first?
Yes. And this is why we entered.
Yes. Why you entered? What got you excited about it? What are you hoping for out of it?
Should we bump back to if we did it last year, or keep that for a separate question?
Yeah. No, you could. Yeah. So Katie is the one of us that has done this before, so you can definitely share about that for sure.
Okay. So first off, last year I wasn't really ready for it and shouldn't have done it, but that prepared me for this year. So I knew what was required. I knew about the mentors on Twitter and everything, looking for that. So the reason I entered is because I know that I'm still growing in my writing craft. I know that I can get help to that next level. And I want to make sure that the book I'm querying next is the one that is agent ready. So I would like a mentor to help me with that, make sure that my synopsis, query, all of that is ready to go as well. So the agent can like immediately fall in love instead of be like, oh, here's a revise and resubmit, or here's why I didn't like this. So it's really just to take me and my book to the next level.
Yeah. Amen. Holly, do you want to add anything else to that?
Yeah, so I've been I call it cautiously querying since February 2019, because I knew I just didn't want to be here's my manuscript to 50 agents and then there be something wrong with the opening pages or the query letter. So I was sending it out bit by bit and just wasn't getting the response I wanted. So I kept tweaking my query letter. And then because I still wasn't getting the response I wanted, I was maybe it's the opening pages. So I just kept, revising it, and I didn't feel like I knew if I was starting in the right place, if that wasn't what was grabbing agents, I was just lost. And so I really wanted to enter PitchWars because I felt like it would help me to figure out if I was starting it in the wrong place. Were there other things that needed to be stronger? Was it the voice? Was it what is it? And maybe it is my synopsis or my query letter. So it's kind of helped to even prepare for it for PitchWars, because I felt like I've already made it stronger by trying to get the mentors. But so I wanted some help because it's going, since I've been querying since February, the query trenches is really hard. So it's that's their slogan. They go through the query trenches with you. And I'm I need all of the help I can get.
Yeah. No, I'm in the same exact boat with you guys, and I haven't queried yet, but I'm just I want help. I want to make sure that, when I first present myself to agents, it's the best that I can do, and that the book is in the best condition. So I've had critique partners and I've gone through one round of beta readers, and I just feel this is the next step. Anybody who's watched my channel for a while knows that I'm a massive like knowledge nerd. Like I just like want to know all things, and I want to grow as much as possible. And so I love mentorship. I love like partnering with somebody else and learning from them, and especially learning from people who are already ahead of us. I think they've worked with editors, they've worked and gotten their manuscript to a place that an agent is wanted. So I just think that would just, even if no agent in that like round wanted to then representation and maybe like finding an agent like your query would be fine, but even just doing the mentorship process I feel like would be such a step forward in the writing journey and learning more. So I'm super excited. Then we have, okay, so we have a couple questions coming in, and I also see some answers. Hold on one second. Okay, so Heather says, I finished the last draft of her book in time for PitMad in September and realized that since I felt ready to query, I should submit to PitchWars, and if I don't match, then I'll continue to query in the process. That's right. So you really have nothing to lose. The only thing that could happen, the bad happening, is that you wouldn't get picked, and in that sense, you would just keep querying. And sort of
PitMad's coming up in December.
Right, yeah, there's like multiple PitMads. There are other mentorship programs as well. So I'm just going to shout out Author Mentor Match, which
February.
Yeah, their next round is in February. So there's other mentorship opportunities as well. But even I think, and I might be skipping around a little bit in the questions to like resources or how to do prep, but I think the process too of getting a couple people and having them look at your query, look at your synopsis, look at your first chapter, which is what you send initially to the mentors, and getting feedback from them. Like, just like Holly said, like I feel like I'm already in a better place going through that process, like the prep process, and not even like having the mentorship yet. So yeah. Christine says, are the mentors authors, agents, or both? So they are authors or editors, industry professionals. What did I read in the PitchWars thing? They are published or agented authors, editors, or industry interns. That's what's officially on the pitchwars.org website. So yeah, that's who they are. Anything else you guys are seeing in the comments that I'm missing? Okay, cool. So let's talk a little bit about, I think, prep. Yeah. Yes. We want to talk about prep. So how did you guys prep for PitchWars? And feel free to mention any and all helpful resources or people that you were talking to or things that you did that were helpful. Holly, do you want to go first?
Yeah. So because I've been querying, I have everything. So it was kind of cool. I wasn't like starting from like a blank slate. So I had my query, my whole manuscript, and at least I thought, a polished like first chapter and a 2-page synopsis. So that was one of the things that I had to do, was to cut that down to 1 page, which if it's 2 pages, you can double space it, but if it's 1 page, it has to be single space. So I had to like change up that formatting, make sure that everything was right with that, and then condense that. So I've pulled like a whole bunch of different resources with how to like write my query and my synopsis that I don't remember because I've like pulled from so many different things. But so this time around, perfecting it was really getting feedback from other people. So Brittany was someone who I got feedback for, and she helped me out immensely. And Jessica Elliott was one of them, and Kim Chan. So shout outs to them for being awesome and like getting me feedback really quickly. So yeah, it was really important for me to find people who I like trusted their feedback and could rely on them to like, be honest with me and just help me, like people who were experienced and I knew that they were knowledgeable. And yeah, so, and then I was, reading the emails from the PitchWars mentors because they were sending their own query critiques. So I didn't get to read through all of them because there were a lot, but that was a little bit helpful. And then Brittany, like you said, watching Sarah's YouTube videos. And then I also watched Jessica Froberg, who was a PitchWars mentee last year. She has a channel and has some she had like a PitchWars experience, a couple videos about her experience. So I was like, ooh, I need like insider information. So that kind of helped me too.
Cool. Yeah, I'm didn't do a good job of putting the links in the description.
Oh, yeah.
No. But I love that I'm going to look up her channel and her videos. So guys, check back on this video like an hour or so after, and I'll have all the links that we're mentioning in the description below. All of them are super, super helpful. Cool. Katie, what do you got to add?
I'm going to take it like a little bit back. So I forgot that I'd wanted to enter #goals, my other YA contemporary, into PitchWars until I'd already started querying it. And then I was like, oh, I can't enter that because I've already queried it, even though you could. I just wasn't thinking. So for July Camp Nano, I wrote Romancing Fate. Okay, it's been like 2-3 months. So that was really, really quick to write and get my readers and revisions and all of that. So prepping for that, since it wasn't my first one, I didn't need a lot of like background stuff, but I did use the Save the Cat outline. And what helped me with my query and first line even was just entering contests on Twitter and entering them on PitchWars, and actually got a few query critiques, which was fun because I got to tweak each time that happened, and then a first line critique, and just watching the YouTube videos from Sarah and other helpful people. Prepping, I'm trying to think. I know like I researched the mentors as well. I kind of stalked them, but yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it wasn't prepping for PitchWars so much as my book, but I got to watch a lot of romance movies and songs, and so that was fun.
That's fun. This is for research.
Yeah, research.
I love it. Cool. So I'm going to re-mention a couple things that you guys already mentioned because I'm going to show it real quick. This is Sarah Nicholas's YouTube channel. If you guys aren't subscribed to her and you're seriously considering PitchWars in the future, definitely subscribe to her. She put up a bunch of videos this year, like helpful, like how to get into PitchWars and like just answering questions and the submission process and all the different kind of stuff, debunking different things that weren't true. And then she also did live chats with a lot of the mentors from this year, and they answered a ton of questions. So that whole thing is just super helpful. The other thing was just Twitter, and I'm just going to, I didn't pull it up yet, but here is the PitchWars. Come on, computer. PitchWars account that you should be following. Still not coming up. There we go. And you can also follow the hashtag the PitchWars hashtag, which is just hashtag PitchWars, and follow all of that because they have Ask Mentor chats as well. Then they give like the whole schedule of when they're going to be. You can actually see PitchWars schedule up here. But they also post pictures of just the different chats that they do, and you can take part in that. The other thing, and I'm not going to show you because I don't want to show you who's in their list, but you can also create lists, and you can save certain people to those lists. So if you have certain mentors that you're really hoping for and you want to follow, or you want to follow like some other people that are doing PitchWars with you, or you want to follow like people like Sarah or the PitchWars account, it's almost like just like a separate feed to follow that's like catered to whatever you need. So I just found all of that really helpful, and like staying in the know and getting updates and asking questions and all of that kind of stuff. So again, I will link that all below afterwards, but just so you can see some things there. I did see a couple of comments here. I just want to shout out to Mary also submitted. She said, I have to agree with Holly and the query punches that they're hard, and I have made a lot of changes to my manuscript, and that's why I decided to try PitchWars again this year, which I love. She also said, I used CPs to help make my first chapter tight, and I just had to update my query and synopsis, which is awesome. Heather's also saying, yes, extra pair of eyes. Definitely helpful. Mary did the Ask Mentor events on Twitter, and JJ shared, I polished my query synopsis and manuscript with the help of my CP, and she did a little shout out, which I love. And yep, I was one of them, yay. And also watched Sarah Nicholas's videos. Yeah, So super, super good. Just making sure I'm not missing anything else.
Yeah, I forgot about the Ask a Mentors. I didn't submit anything, but I would see it come across my feed, and then I'd like read, like, ooh, what is the answer to this? So like, I always like forget to use it, but I'd like take advantage of other people's like inquiries. So
yeah. And if you create lists, you can like then follow how they answer certain questions, because sometimes like I was watching answers like for total other genres that I'm like, this is not helping me, but like when it was the actual mentors I was interested in, then it was like sort of catered, which was really cool. So speaking of mentors, how did you guys go about picking your mentors? Because you can only, so here's a tidbit if you didn't know, you can only submit to 4 mentors, or 4, like sometimes they do mentorship in pairs. So if they are a pair or a team, that's one submission to like 1 mentor team. So, but you have 4 slots that you can submit to. And, but you have to like seriously narrow it down. So on their website, they have a list of the mentors, and they have links to each of their blogs where they have a wish list of what they want, what their mentorship style is like, a little bit about them, what they don't want to see in a manuscript, so you don't, you know, mistakenly submit to somebody who's like, hey, I don't want mermaids, you know, and your story has mermaids, and all of a sudden you wasted your submission because you didn't get to read their wish list. So reading the wish list, super, super important. But what other things did you guys do in order to figure out who you wanted as a mentor? Katie, do you want to go first?
Sure. So, well, I'll mention the wish list first.
Yeah.
So I went through and knocked out all the ones who weren't looking for contemporary young adult. And from that, I kind of went through like who seemed the most interested in romance and contemporary together. I tried to weed out the ones, like I wanted to really pull the ones who wanted that the most versus like other genres to really help my story out. Of course, that only worked for like a couple of people. So from there, I went and saw like what other genres people were adding, making sure I was never on the like do not want list. And I also made sure that their edits were something that were useful to me. I actually saw one mentor's blog that didn't really list what their edits would be. And so I was like, oh, I don't know if you're going to be helpful or not. So looking at that and then making sure our personalities might click. I also looked at them on Twitter and saw kind of how they were interacting and what they were writing. And I even wrote to one of them who said, like, this is my list of wants. And I was like, is that the order of genres that you want? And they were like, no. And I was like, okay, cool.
Super helpful. Love it. Holly, what'd you do?
Yeah, so that's what I did at first too. I looked at the wish list, and like I think I like woke up at like 4 a.m. that day, so I'm like scrolling on my phone, like yes, and taking screenshots of the people that. So yeah, so first I well, like the very first mentor I looked at, I like read everything. I'm like, ooh, this person's up, because they went into like about themselves and you know their like editing style, and then they like go and then they're like, I don't want fantasy. I'm like, wait, I just read this whole page. So like, why did they start? They should have started with the wants and don't wants, which some people did. So then I learned to go to that first. So then I did that. So then, because I think there was 44 YA mentors. So from the do not want list, like I made sure they wanted fantasy and at least sci-fi, and cut that down to 20 mentors. And so then from there, I went more in depth into their wish list to make sure, because some people like, you know, said, oh, like, I don't, you know, I want fantasy, but not sci-fi. And even though I have that like soft sci-fi, so I just made sure that, you know, they at least wanted some sci-fi. And then, you know, I also looked at like their experience. So like whether they've had past mentors that were successful, mentees that were successful, whether there were even some that were like, they were a mentee and their book is coming out and now they're a mentor, which is really cool. And then their feedback style, like I said, making sure they were closely aligned with kind of what I was looking for. And then I cut that down to 10. So then it was like, okay, I have to cut this down to 4. And so I really nitpicked at that list too, to see like, okay, well, yeah, maybe they want a lot of these things that like TCC hits, but maybe they said in all capitals, like, you know, romance or, you know, something that like TCC wasn't about. So I'm like, I feel like they will really want, you know, a manuscript with this. And if they find it, they're going to gloss over TCC.
Right.
So from there, I cut it down to like 5 or 6. And so that the last, you know, cutting down those last couple people, it was, yeah, then I went on their Twitters and then just looked again on their websites and really felt like they would be a good fit. Like they would want TCC based on the things that I had. And then I went with my gut too, because some of it was like, it was literally like 2 people. I'm like, well, they're equal, so I just had to go with my gut. So
yeah. Cool. And my like process was like really similar to you guys. I think I did cut through the noise a little bit in the beginning because when I went to the wish list, you can do like Control F or something to pull up search, and then I just searched fantasy. So like if you have fantasy, or if it said no fantasy, or if it said like no high fantasy, because mine is like more high or epic fantasy, then I was like, okay, nope. Like I bet you're a lovely person, but you're not gonna like my manuscript. So so then I organized the list of all the people that wanted epic fantasy. And then from there, then I started like really combing through and reading more. And I think I checked more what they didn't want to make sure that I didn't have anything that they didn't want. And then I started looking at their mentorship style. And I really, for me too, like I really loved when someone took the time to really put their personality into their wish list. To tell a little bit about them and how you might connect with them personally, because that's like a big part of it too. And I also took a note from, I'm going to show JJ's here. She said I did the same thing and I made a spreadsheet to narrow them down. So I did the spreadsheet thing too, and it was super helpful. And then Mary says, I went through all the wish lists and I watched their videos with the live chats and Ask Mentor on Twitter and a bunch of stuff. And that's the other thing too, you can get to know a mentor by, like Katie did, asking questions. And a lot of the mentors, like they would post and be like, hey, my wish list is up, ask me anything. Like they were super open and nice and like wanting to connect. So that was really cool. Carrie says, wish list and Twitter stalking was so hard for me because most did not want what I had. Sci-fi post-apocalyptic zombie. Woo! Type and that's another thing too I don't think we talked about, but there is an adult category and then there's a young adult category, and within that some people said that they would accept new adult, and then there was a middle grade category. So that also helps sort of narrow it down a little bit too. I'm just going to clarify for Christine, do they only accept one mentee? And the answer is yes. They're going to they're going to read your full manuscript and they're going to help you step by step for 3 months to get it perfect for agents. So I'm thankful that they're only picking one. The downside is there has already been over 3,000 people who have entered, and there's only a limited amount of spots. And so I think the percentage last year was something like 3% got picked, because like that's just how many mentorship teams they had. And so it's really, I mean, yeah, it's rough. And it's also rough because, so here's the thing that I think I'm realizing. It's like, if you don't get picked, it doesn't mean that your manuscript isn't good. Like sometimes they don't pick you because they're just like, this person should just query. Like, I don't even know how to help them. Or they're like, this definitely needs help, but I personally don't know how to help them. Like I don't have the skills to. It could also be that they like 3 or 4 manuscripts and they had to pick one. So like unless they respond to you and say, hey, I really liked your manuscript and this was the issue, that why I didn't pick it, you don't know, so just because you don't get picked doesn't mean that your manuscript isn't good. Or Katie has a hand up.
With that, and supposedly some of them might reply, but I wouldn't count on it. But there are times when your submission is ready for querying an agent and they don't pick you because of that as well. So just because you're rejected or not picked doesn't mean that you're not great. And I hope that they give feedback for that instead of you thinking like, what can I do better? I really hope they're like, hey, go ahead and query somebody so you know. But
yeah. And that's the thing, like I've heard that some mentors do that, especially for the people that they were really considering, but they couldn't pick everybody. So that's another thing, that even if you don't get a mentor, you could get some really valuable feedback. So I'm just going to throw up this question here. We are going to answer it later, but Carrie, what's everyone doing to keep busy during the waiting period? Are you going to follow the PW tweezers? So let's put a pin in that, but we are going to answer that later for sure, because yikes. It's hard, guys. And let's see. I'm just checking to make sure we're not missing anything else before we move on. Yeah, Kevin says we'll be talking obsessively. That's what she's going to be doing. Kristen says this is insane competition, but the confidence boost in knowing you're in the top 3%. Yes. Oh, and that was the other thing that I want to say too, that mentors are also picking manuscripts that they personally connect with. Mm-hmm. So if there's nobody in the group that would have a personal connection with your particular kind of story, that could also be a reason why you didn't get picked as well. So top 3% is great because, hey, like that means that they see potential, and they, like a lot of mentors said, as long as you have voice is something I can't teach you. So so if you're getting the top 3%, it means your story has a lot of potential. It means you have voice. It means that there's good things going on. But also remember too that like it's also personal preference. Like the mentor like has to like the story, and not everybody's gonna like the story, but and all right, so let's move on to how do you feel now that you've submitted? What are all the feels and the anxiety and the stuff? Holly, you want to go first?
Yeah, I was so excited. I was just super excited and very relieved because I like dropped everything I was doing and said, okay, I'm doing PitchWars. Like it wasn't until like I was talking with Brittany about it. And so it wasn't until I think like July or August that I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I think it was in July. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, maybe I'll do this. And then end of July, I'm like, yes, I'm doing this. So I just like dropped everything. And then really like, that's why I think I'm starting to get sick, because like this last week I've just been like rallying and just like pushing myself to like, you know, incorporate the feedback that I got. So I was really proud of myself for doing that, because I'm like, this is hard stuff. And like, I've edited my query and, you know, all of that so many times. So to be doing it again, like, it's just such a relief to like have accomplished even more and made things, I think, even better than it's been. And what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh yeah, I'm just excited. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, because since my twin Heather is here, like we both got to submit together, and we were both like in real time, you know, giving feedback to each other. Hey, what about this line? And like, hey, what about this comment? Do you think this, like, how can I tweak this? And so it was just really like exciting for us to both do that together, because so, and like having all my friends do it too. Like I feel like it's like, it feels like that NaNoWriMo camaraderie that like you just get excited for like everyone who's successful. And so it's just like, we all did it, you guys.
Yeah.
Totally. Oh, good. I'm glad you're like in a positive place, because I think most of us are, but like there is a little bit of that anxiety, but mostly.
And then Kim is here. So Kim wasn't here when I shouted her out. So thank you, Kim, for helping me like last minute. And I really appreciate your feedback. Thank you.
And Kim actually was a mentor. Was it last year? I think it was last year, right? Yes. So Kim was one of the mentors last year. So
with Megan.
With Megan, right. And so I'm just going to shout you out, if you have any words of wisdom, positive advice, already submitted, but yeah, if there's anything you want to add to this, please share. Cool. You want to go next?
Yeah. So I felt really elated because I am very, like, not to get my hopes up, but just really excited about my project and materials. And I really feel like at least a couple of the mentors will connect with it. So on that end, my hopes are really up here. But as soon as I hit submit, I was like, oh, can y'all start reading your submissions already? Like, I want feedback or something. But right now, no anxiety, but I'm sure closer to November, I'll start being like, oh, or so I don't.
Yeah, and let's just talk about that process just for a second before I share as well, because I don't know if this is the first year they've asked them to do this, because a lot of people have been refreshing their emails. But one thing that they have been tweeting all over the place is that they won't actually allow the mentors to check on submissions until all submissions have been in, which is tonight. in like an hour. Okay. So if you haven't yet, and
I've heard noon tomorrow.
Wait, what?
I've heard like noon tomorrow is when most of them are waiting to look.
Oh, are waiting. So yeah, so some vendors may not even start looking till tomorrow. But yeah, maybe part of like why I'm not feeling super anxious yet is like because I'm like, okay, well, I can't be expecting anything yet because they're not even
Right. But I saw some people, they're like, oh, I did a sneak peek at my at like a couple submissions. I'm like, no.
Well, and I think for the people that have restrained themselves, it is good because then you get to see everybody at once. And that's what I think some people have been nervous of, like, I need to submit as early as possible because then like they'll see my story first and maybe they'll fall in love with it more because it's like one of the first ones they see. And you never know, like every mentor is different. It could affect them, whichever one submission they look at first. But then it's just like, getting too much into the detail. I think you just gotta trust and like let go. So for me, what question are we answering again?
How do you feel now that you see it?
No, I'm just super excited to and just like proud of myself for getting this far because again, like I've wanted to submit like pretty much for the last year and I kept holding off because I was like, you know what, I should really like, even though I've done some revision myself, I should really do critique partners. And after I did critique partners, I was like, you know what, I should really do daily readers before I get to this point and like do another revision. And so I finally just felt like, okay, I'm in a really good place and feel good. And I have no excuses. It's just I have to pull the trigger. So the fact that I pulled the trigger is like I'm celebrating, and I think even if I don't get picked for this round, there's like alternate max or the round next year or whatever, that like I'm that much more ready for that or for querying. So I just feel like it's a win-win. But I'm sure once we know, and those like okay, so PW tweezers, right? The hashtag PW tweezers that's going to start going on.
Tweezers.
Somebody said tweezers because they were like Twitter teasers.
Is it? Wait.
Is it?
I don't know. I thought Carrie said tweezers. Whatever, you guys. I don't know which one. But it's like I think it might be PW tweezers. Somebody said that.
Yeah,
but the mentors, as they look at submissions, will give teasers of things that they're enjoying. And I think once that starts, JJ has firmly told me that I'm not allowed to look at them because it's anxiety filling, but I sort of want to look at them. So I might start, and then if I have anxiety, then I'll stop.
Right before this live stream, that's when I first saw it because I was like browsing through Twitter and I'm like, oh, what's this? So that's me. Like I think I'm gonna try to look at them, and if I realize that it's like making me anxious, then I'm gonna block it because like I'm curious, but I don't know how I'm gonna respond to it. So
and some words of wisdom here from Kim. Just remember, mentors have a lot to go through. Megan, I went a week before requesting anything, so that's another thing. Like I don't know, like it sounds like Kim and Megan waited till they went through everybody before they requested anything. There might be mentors that request something as they go, like I don't know, but it could be a week or more until anybody hears anything. So it's a little scary, but we're going to talk about how we're going to keep ourselves busy in just a second. All right, just looking. Yeah, PW teasers. Thanks, JJ. Cool. Okay, and Kim's just saying too, mentors aren't allowed to post super specific stuff, so just be prepared that the teasers will be super vague. Thank you for the clarity. Yes, and because they're vague too, I think we'll be also like, wait, is it me? Is it not me? Cool. Okay. Oh, before we talk about how we're going to spend our time and not go crazy this next month of waiting, because if we haven't said it already, this year, mentors won't get officially announced until November 3rd, which is totally reasonable because mentors, if they request like a few manuscripts, they're reading through entire books in a month and trying to decide who they're going to mentor. So I totally get it. It's my heart. So, but overall, what has been the best and then the hardest parts of the submission process? I don't know, this is like a loaded question. So either of you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go.
Okay.
Go first. So the best part for me was, hopefully, at least I think I figured out my first chapter, because it was getting all the feedback this round was because I just like didn't know if I was starting in the right place, and I actually like wasn't, because I had changed some things from when I wrote like my first and second drafts to try to like bring up the inciting incident sooner, but then I realized I kind of took out like the real life, like the real world of my character, like before she goes into this like fantasy world. So like I actually combined my first and second chapters and put the second chapter before what happens in the first chapter. So I really had to like tweak all that, but like I feel so much relief from that. So it was the best thing because I feel really like good about that first chapter now and feel like that will draw people in more. And that might have been the thing that was missing for me. And so, yeah, I'm proud of that and feel good. Now the hardest part is that kind of like I said, like I've like revised my query, my synopsis, not so much, but like my query, like so many times, and like still there's things that I'm tweaking and doing, and with my synopsis, like the thing is because there's so much world building and so much information to like not like overwhelm people, is like hard for me to be like, what details are important, what aren't, and even I can go through like how to do this, and it still like doesn't get through to me until like someone like helps me out, which is why I need help. But yeah, and then I think like another part too is just like there's still that waiting game, so you still kind of have that self-doubt. Like I know you said that like, well, it might not be right for them, or they may not feel like they can help you, but it's still just like, oh, is there something wrong with me? Because like, that's just what we writers like tell ourselves. So it's still just like making sure that I'm not like gonna be beating myself up about it too. So
Totally.
I'll do my hardest part first, which was just kind of like Holly, that short period of time you're like, oh, let me figure all this out. So just doing revisions in that time and then getting critiques. I actually got a first page critique from an ex-mentor who I was hoping was going to be a mentor this year and was not, but she helped me a lot. So I got to condense things that she said she read over, because I was putting in a bunch of like meet cute situations, and she was like, just cut this and like get to where it happens. And so that was helpful. So really just the perfectionist in me was really hard, and being okay with what I was going to submit. The best part was my research of rom-coms, and but I had to, like, the story actually wrote itself. I kind of get with like the muses, they like the story just goes, and that happened and it was great, but in the end I had to move around some scenes and add some things in there. But definitely like my writing community and people helping me was a real big plus. Like Holly said, it kind of feels like Nano all over again, and so yeah.
Yeah, it's like Nano 2.0.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just gonna echo too, just like, getting feedback and working like even more closely with some of the friends I already had, but then also meeting new friends through like some of the Twitter chats and YouTube stuff that was going on. I think the writing community aspect of PitchWars is just awesome. I love that everybody's like so supportive of each other. Like it's called PitchWars, but like we're not really warring. Like it's so encouraging, and I think like I have a ton, except, these ladies and a few more, like I have a lot of indie author friends, and I love them, and I think I might want to do hybrid at some point. So like I love that I get to learn from them, but I always feel like I need to know even more about traditional if that's what I first want to do. And so like being involved in a community that like everybody is going towards traditional and sharing knowledge and doing all of that has been like really cool. I think the hardest thing for me was that by the time I got to the end of beta readers, because I had been adding stuff while beta readers, because I had 141,000 words. And I didn't realize that that was too much for submission, like to most mentors, until about 2 weeks before like submission, or 2 weeks before submission was going to open. And I started asking certain mentors that I wanted submit to, like, what is the highest they will accept, because I was at the point that, like, I think I'm gonna have to cut like 20,000 words in the next 2 weeks, and they thankfully were like, okay, 130 you can go with. We're gonna have you cut about 30,000 by the time we're done with you, but we'll take 130. And I was like, oh my God. So I cut 10,000 words in about a matter of a week, and I've got a little bit more since then. But that was like, like, I don't want anybody to not accept me because I have too many words. So that's like more of a like me personal overwriter thing. But
give me your words.
Yeah, that's right. We talked about that. It's fair.
I'm like, oh please, 60K, come.
But you know what? I cut so many just like filler words and stuff. Like most of that 10,000 was like filler words. So I learned a lot about filler words too. I'm just going to share a couple comments here. Carrie says, I want a first page critique from all of this. So if I get nothing else, at least I got that. And it was helpful. I'm trying to be positive. I will probably bury myself in another work in progress. Yes. And that is our very next question of what are we going to be doing. So I feel like some of us are going to be seeing that too. Kim says, y'all have probably mentioned this already, but just remember that if not selected, it's not an indication of the quality of your manuscript. It's just super competitive. Exactly. Yes. And we did talk about that earlier, but thank you, Kim. It definitely helps to hear that again from a mentor yourself. So let's see. Somebody's asking Holly something. Haven't seen what you submitted, and I know you're going to do amazing. Oh, I love it.
Oh, you guys are awesome.
Kim also says take advantage of the community. 2016 is how she met Megan, and we all know how great of friends they are. So that is super awesome. And just see if I missed anybody else. Yeah, 10K was a beast, Heather. True. Catherine is editing while watching us, so woo-woo, keep editing.
Nice, multitasking for the win.
And Kim is excited for us. Well, oh, hi, Jenna.
Hi, Jenna.
Sweet. So we've got our final question here, and if there's any other questions or things you guys want us to talk about before we wrap up, definitely let us know, and you can stick around for a little while longer. But our final planned question was, how will you spend your time? What will you spend your time doing while you wait to hear the results on November 3rd? Dun, dun, dun.
I can go first.
Yeah.
So I've been in a reading slump this entire year because I've written basically 3 books so far this year. So I'm really trying to get back into that, and then otherwise revising and making sure like certain other ones are ready to be queried. Probably doing some Preptober stuff for Nano, and of course PW teasers.
Yes, you're gonna write another book during Nano. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, that's my plan. The one that y'all did, the Save the
Four
Cat
books.
experience. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not saying my one, like I did in middle grade, and I'm not saying it was great, but yeah, it's there.
Wow.
Oh.
In and of itself.
That's awesome.
Holly, you want to go next?
Yeah, I know, but I think I'm like, what do I start working on first? Because me too, I also want to work on my TBR. I've actually got quite a few arcs from some indie author friends. So like, you know, besides just my regular TBR, like I also got like just all my indie friends books that I am excited to read and want to like read and review for. So I want to work on that. I'm doing well with my like Goodreads goal, but I want to try to hit the 60 books. I think I'm at like 52, so I'm almost there. Let's see. Okay, so because we don't find out the PitchWars mentees until November 3rd, I have to outline my NaNoWriMo novel, because if I don't get into PitchWars, I will be participating in NaNoWriMo. I was a rebel last year editing the Celestial Code's 4th draft. So I've been editing the Celestial Code like over 2 years. So I'm like itching to like work on something new. So I will be like outlining another YA fantasy, but then I also feel bad because I keep putting my poor second novel on the back burner, which is Avargo's Riddle, like my upper middle grade YA fantasy that I got feedback for from a round of betas mid-August that I put on hold to work on the Celestial Code. So I'm just like, if I work on NaNoWriMo, like, you know, like maybe I could like outline that and like start like editing or like doing both, but then and then also AuthorTube, like I don't have any videos, and like October is like Preptober, so I have all these like NaNoWriMo ideas. So I'm just, I have plenty to keep me occupied that I'll be like, wait, PitchWars, what is that? Okay.
That's awesome though, because obsessing about it isn't gonna make it come any faster.
Yeah, I think this will help to keep myself pretty occupied.
Yeah, just a little bit. Awesome. Yeah, and for me, I have not been reading much in the last few months either. So I have like a stack high of things. Like, and I love audiobooks. So I just feel like I need to clean my house. Like, honestly, like from cleaning and like organizing. Like spring cleaning didn't happen. Cleaning is gonna happen, and I'm gonna have the earbuds in with all the audiobooks and just catch up. And then I have book 2 of the book that I'm making towards, and I thought that that's what I was going to write for Nano, but I think I need like a palette cleanser. I think I need some space from the series and the characters until I do something else. So I ended up outlining a new story, a new fantasy at the Wander Writers Retreat, which I'm really excited about. And so I think I'm going to work on that for Preptober, and then plan to do that in November if I don't get picked for PitchWars as well. And anybody that knows about my author website bootcamp, little spoiler alert, the self-study program and course is going to be coming out in October. Fingers crossed. So I'm going to be working on that as well, and the launch of that, which will be really exciting. So lots of good stuff.
I'm glad you mentioned the cleaning, because I realized, like, yeah, I've kind of neglected that too. So yeah.
It's got to happen. Just looking through the comments here. Catherine's asking, how can I become a mentor or person to read people's pitches? For the mentor, I know they have like a whole season before PitchWars even happens where you can apply. And I think you need to be, published, traditionally published, or have an agent, or be an industry professional. But then they have the whole application process that they put you through to apply to people. So you can check out that on their website, PitchWars.org, and check it out. People are shouting you out, Katie, for being a writing machine. Love it. Jennifer says, she's responding to Carrie, but not even doing PitchWars this time around. I'm working my work in progress, getting ready for critique partners. Yeah, so definitely doing critique partners / beta readers, all that kind of stuff before PitchWars is super, super helpful. JJ is going to be working on her new YA fantasy. I'm so excited to hear more about this, JJ. And then Mary says, I'm in school and I'm in intermediate fiction writing class. I'm so jealous. I want to go back to school.
Oh, did your like laptop die or something?
No.
Oh.
Read the comment.
I'm going to crash the live stream now.
Dude, oh my gosh. No, Heather, I mean, she said you were at your house, but like, I didn't even put 2 and 2 together. Of course you couldn't pop on. Hello.
We got these sweaters yesterday from Target, so yeah.
You sharing
Arizona.
Wait, what?
But I'm here for a short period of time.
Wait, go.
What are you going to be doing, Heather, while you're waiting for PitchWars stuff?
It's a secret for now. I will reveal soon.
Ooh. You have to subscribe to her newsletter. Woo.
I love that. Love it. Cool. And I love the sweaters. I feel like I'm going to have to go out and check out Target now.
Yeah.
Let's just see a few more comments. Christine says, but I did 2 unpublished drafts this year, so I'm technically ahead of the game. Woo woo! Yes, Christine is definitely looking to enter next year, so I'm super excited for you, Christine. Do I see anything else that I'm missing? Any questions? Kim, super awesome plug. I hear the super audiobook is pretty amazing. Yeah. You know, we need to get the super audiobook on Scribd though, because I have the Scribd app, and I know, I think you said it's only on Amazon, but I want it on Scribd. Cleaning. What is that?
What is
I
this
don't
sorcery?
Don't know.
It's amazing. Read Seeker.
Yes, I have it. It's on my
Or
list.
listen to it.
Actually,
Yes.
plug for Kim. Beautiful book right here.
Ooh, it's so
Oh my
good.
God, this is next. Okay, I think we're just chatting. I don't see you guys see any other questions before we close up. Cool. I think we're good. Sweet. So, yeah. I don't know how to close this up. I didn't plan an outro. Fun. I love
so much for
live
watching.
streaming.
Good luck.
I love having these 3 lovely ladies with me,
Oh.
Yeah.
and loved having you guys in the chat. Good luck to everybody. Again, I wouldn't recommend waiting till the last second, but there is 30 minutes left that you can still apply if you want to. And yeah, definitely check out, I will link also our YouTube channels in the description to make sure that you're following everybody, because I'm sure we will have future videos of an update of what happened with the course and how we feel about it afterwards. Yeah, anything else you guys want to add, or?
No, just thanks for having. Yeah, thanks for having me. And I'll go. Oh wait, I'm on the YouTube one, so I could respond to comments. So I was like, wait, it's like behind the
Behind, yeah.
I was all thrown off. Yeah. Yeah. Good luck to everyone who submitted, and thanks for everyone's support.
Good luck.
Yeah. So much love to everybody who joined us, and if you're watching on the replay, definitely let us know if you have any other questions or thoughts or whatever. I love the twin heart. Oh my god, I love it. Yeah, so I'm gonna close it off. Thank you guys again so much, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.